Hello there, how are you? Welcome back to How I Did It. Today I am changing out this Hayward cartridge pool filter for a Hayward sand pool filter. Now this time of year the pollen is just unbearable if you have allergies, and unfortunately the pool is unable to keep up, or I should say the pool filter is unable to keep up with the pollen. So I opted to this year to go to a sand filter. It's bigger, it'll pump more gallons through it. It also should potentially do a better job filtering it out. It'll be way easier to just backwash it rather than pulling a cartridge out, hosing it off. Now one of these cartridges cost me upwards of about $100. So the sand filter was 300 and change. And then the sand filter is designed to have hoses that you just clamp on, so you don't actually have to have it hard plumbed. I chose to go ahead and hard plumb it. Florida sun is just so unforgiving, and within a year, 2 tops, those hoses would have probably sprung leaks. So it's going to take me a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, a few extra dollars, but oh so worth it. The other thing that I love is these quick connects, and my son's oil filter wrench, so I didn't have channel locks big enough to get on these quick disconnects, so I used his oil filter wrench and was able to just loosen it right up. Oh my goodness, it was just awesome. So it saved me a few bucks there, having to go buy a pair of giant sized channel locks just to get these things disconnected. With that being done there, I opted to go ahead and slide this concrete slab that the pump was sitting on over. That way the new sand filter, when it comes in, it'll sit right on the back edge of it. And the way the platform is for this new sand filter, there's a spot that you can actually put the pump on there towards my right hand, back towards the wall. But because this pump already had a stand, I just opted to go ahead and leave it there. It was set at the perfect height for the quick connect down there by the pump filter itself, or I should say strainer. So we have it all set up. I know what I'm going to do. I know my plan of attack. I went ahead and dug out around there a little bit, made sure, or got it as close to level as I could. There was also another just empty wire chase. It was crazy, so I got that out of there as well. So no level, so I MacGyvered this one here. Used my water bottle. It had a line on it. That way I could just see, is it level? We're pretty darn close to it, and it was. Now with the weight of the sand, 250 pounds is the maximum that this filter or this container will take. I put 200 in there. It's rated for 200 for this particular model, actually 200 to 250 pounds worth of sand. And believe it or not, Home Depot has out in their garden section a pool section, and I was able to pick up the pool sand because you have to use pool sand. Every thing I read, every video I watched said make sure you use pool sand. So yeah, they had it right there. They had that. They had the vinyl backwash blue tube. You'll see that later on in the video. So it was kind of a two-stop shopping. I purchased the pump off of Amazon, and then I picked up the rest of the stuff at my local Home Depot, and I was able to get this thing installed in an afternoon. Not without a few little hiccups, mind you. So this cardboard thing that goes over this is pretty neat. This ships. Those little black arm wingy things, they have slits in them where the water transfers through it. And they tell you to put about a quarter to halfway full of water. Then you put this back over the top of it, ensuring that it's centered in the middle of the tank. Push this down in there, and what that does is that blocks any sand from getting down into your piping. Now with that sitting there, you simply grab your bag of sand and cut it and dump it in there. Figuring out how to cut it to where it flowed freely was the biggest difficulty that I had. Like with any bag, when you have stuff in it and you're trying to pour, it gets hung up in the corners. You know how, like when you open your dog food or your cat food, just at that edge? Yeah. So, a couple of bags of practice, but as you can see, here we are almost to the end of this, and I was like, what? You know what? Let me do this differently. So, slid it up, but then instead of cutting it above those corners, take the corner and cut it over. That way everything just flows right out of it. No hassles, no fuss, no mess. Oops, missed the hole. This actually was a pretty easy job, and the nice part of it, I did it in an afternoon. Stella was able to come over there and just hang out on the pool deck, have a little puppy break. The puppies are growing like crazy, and she's definitely needing her time away from them. Now, I would suggest saving that cardboard only because eventually you're going to either add more sand to it or dump this sand out. I think they said like every 3 to 5 years you'll empty the sand out and then you'll add new sand in there. And by having that cardboard, you simply put it over the top just like we did here, and it keeps it from getting down in your tube. Now granted, you can put tape down over the tube, but that cardboard was pretty ingenious. It also came with fittings for all the openings. The only one that I used of theirs was this elbow, and that is for my backwash line. That way I can hook that blue hose onto it. The rest of it, like I said, I opted to go ahead and hard plumb it instead of having hoses blow in the next year or so. And if I had used their hoses, this thing would have probably have been installed in about, I would say, hour and a half max. Now this is the top valve system. It comes with everything you'll need, and there's this little glass tube. You'll see I didn't actually get a very good picture of it. It'll show me installing it. That's just a window to look at when you're backwashing. That's all that is. When it goes clear, then you know that it's clear. Beautiful pressure gauge. Came already pre-wrapped with Teflon tape, so you didn't even have to fuss with that. I have no clue what I was looking at here because the hole was right there on top to put this thing, thread this thing in. So now all of the fittings that I put on here, I wrapped them with Teflon tape, like a great amount of Teflon tape. And then I also used a paste Teflon tape on top of it. Now here's the little glass window that I was talking about. There's a rubber gasket that goes in there, and then the little glass window just screws down in. And that's just so you can visualize when you're backwashing. That easy. That just slides over your downspout pipe or upspout pipe or whatever that pipe is called, and then it has this kind of clamping type of collar, and you assemble it but leave it to where it's movable. That way you can move your valve where you want your pipes to come into it. and then that'll be actually the last thing that you tighten up once everything is glued together. Now I sped this up a little bit. Again, I wrapped it probably 7 to 10 times with Teflon tape, and then I just bought this tube of the liquid Teflon tape, just so I could ensure that when I put this thing back together, I wasn't going to have any leaks. And what they say to do is hand tight, and then use a wrench and tighten it down like 1.5, 2 turns, complete turns. So that's pretty much what I did, and for the most part, they all appear to be doing well. I had one slight issue. I disconnected the quick connect and tightened it back down and a little bit more, and it was great. It would have been so much easier if I would have had oversized PVC cutters or my Sawzall charged, but the hacksaw worked. Do it the old school way. Now remember, when you glue your stuff together, you always want to make sure you deburr your edges. That's all I'm doing here. And the Teflon tape, the priming and gluing, the deburring the edges, every piece you're going to do it the same way. I just didn't film every single piece putting it together. Now, one little hint. When you're assembling this, don't forget, I almost put that on there, don't forget to put your locking nut on there before you put the other part of the compression fitting, because these things are like over $10 each. So I was able to recycle or reuse 2 of them, but this third one I had here in the center. That way, if I want to take this valve apart, all I have to do is disconnect these quick connects and I'm good to go. I could have just did a straight glue and then cut them later on, but with the prices going the way that they're going, if you're going to buy it now. I'm of the mindset. Now, the other reason that I put that plastic bag over it, that edge right there that I'm working on right now, that's just above that opening, and that goes straight down into the pool pump. I didn't want to get anything into the pool pump there.
sleepy girl.
And again, if I had just used the hoses that they sent, that filter comes with everything that you will need to hook it up except for the pool pump itself. And now my last quick connect. And again, probably 7 to 10 wraps of Teflon tape. And then using the liquid Teflon tape on it, and then confirm everything is tight, including the collar is key. Ask me how I know. Yeah, there were a couple of loose fittings, so it basically was just sucking air. It was funny, it didn't blow water everywhere, but it was sucking a lot of air. Alrighty, now we'll just finish tightening down this collar, go back and double check all the quick connects, make sure that they're tightened down, everything's secure. If you see right there by the elbow, just to the right side of that black elbow, that clear glass window, that's where you can watch what your backwash is doing. And that's that little piece that I was telling you, a rubber gasket goes in and then that just twists in there. Alright, here goes nothing. Power, water flowing, absolutely awesome. Now I did have to actually run the pool for a couple minutes as some of this debris did go back into the pool. No harm, no foul, the pool is so green as it is. But the backwash is working fantastic. This project is done. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day. I'll see you next time on How I Did It.